Understand something. Plain and simple. To me, Abigail was a delicious poison. An intoxicating, overwhelming poison. Yowie wowie! That felt good! Yowie wowie. Let me in.
Welcome everybody to Monday night, and it's Monday night of Halloween week, and that can only mean one thing. We've got to start it off with something scary, a little bit of frightening on a Monday, and continue it all throughout the week. So we are here tonight for Abby's Window, and we've got a bit of breaking news. Go ahead, Jodie.
All right, so we have some big Bray breaking news tonight. It's happening, you guys. It's happening. Everybody start hyperventilating because Randy Orton, now your new champion, is going to be appearing on a Moment of Bliss tonight on Raw. So there it is. It seems like they are giving us at least little teasers of this feud. It may be the next one to happen. Him being on a Moment of Bliss certainly seems that way. So everybody can start hyperventilating and freaking out because this is amazing. And if the Fiend shows up or we get something tonight teasing that feud starting soon, I will just lose it.
So there you go, guys. What a way to start the show tonight. Breaking news just came across on WWE. It is all over the place. In fact, now that we have announced it on the show, I am going to go and retweet that out. It is, yeah. I was almost half expecting, I didn't get to see a lot of the show last night, but I did see the very end. I was almost half expecting something to happen when Randy was walking up that aisle because it was taking forever for him to do so, and kind of just looking back at Drew in the ring and everything like that. So I was kind of half expecting something like that to happen. It did not, but obviously it looks like it is going to happen tonight on Raw. So welcome, guys. What a way to start the show. Absolutely amazing. Big news. Look, you kind of got the impression that things were changing up a little bit. But before we get into that, so let me say hello to everybody tonight. First of all, let me say thank you to my co-host Jodie and Jeff, and obviously DJ B. Tazzy, who's in the chat. Thank you for filling in last night. You guys killed it. Amazing show. That is without a doubt, not even close, the highest viewed video we've ever had. 9,600 views on the Hell in a Cell last night. Absolutely amazing, guys. Thank you for those of you who came over, and those of you who came over to watch, and anybody else new that came over and tuned in, and you may be new in the chat tonight. Welcome to our show. We got a ton of subs and stuff to the channel as well. Thank you for all of that, and thank you to the guys for filling in last night. So let's get that out of the way first of all. Let me say hello to some people. Dallas Stars fan, Jay Legacy, Kevin Correa, Timbo869, KJ Carter, hello to you. Kevin Correa, I think I said him already. James Chadwick, welcome to you, man. DJ B. Tazzy is here. Let's see. C Wrestling is here as well. Yes, she did deliver the breaking news. We have Days Fan in the chat as well. We have Sunny Wolf is here with us. We have Butterspark is here with us. We have Dave in Real Life is here with us. Dave, I don't think I've seen you, but congrats on winning the code from us from Fight. I hope you enjoyed Impact on Saturday night. So great job. Mike Lister is here. Sean is here. Oh, man, who else? Meme Collector 30 is here. Clay Sculptures is here. Oh, man. Jason Peace is here. Sean Rousset is here. Oh man, we've got who else? Nails is here. We've got I think that might Monica King is here as well, somewhere around. I know I saw someone say hello to Monica. Eric Harper is here. John Cena Gamer is here. There are a ton of people here. The list is going on and on and on. All right. So you heard it. You got the breaking news. If you got it here first, that's awesome, because we don't get to do that very often. Now that we are going on before Raw, maybe that's an advantage because, they announced these kind of things a little bit later. And again, we kind of felt that things were changing a little bit because of what I did see yesterday, of course. I saw the Retribution thing, and everybody's kind of getting the impression, all right, well, Bray is going after Retribution. There was some tweeting going on between him and Bane. I'm not saying their real names. Bane and Bray were tweeting back and forth, and Bray said, "See you in hell." So a lot of people kind of figured he would interfere in that match. He did not. So it was Slapjack against Bobby Lashley. That didn't go very well for Slapjack. Slapjack got slapjacked and lost the match, and Retribution walked out with tails between their legs. So not a good night for Retribution, and so I'm guessing Bray no longer involved with Retribution because, well, you just heard why. All right, well, you know what? Let's get rolling because there's nothing now more important to talk about than the story that everyone that has watched our show from day one has been waiting for. This is the feud that everyone wanted to see. Randy Orton, and there's the picture of Bray holding that crucifix, I think they called it, that was put into the ashes of Abigail, and we saw that little teaser on the Funhouse last week. So many times we get these teasers and they, it's for something way down the road. Well, obviously, this is not way down the road. Randy got that title, but how long now is Randy going to hold that title is what we have to go into next. So, first of all, let me go into, obviously, we saw what happened last week on Raw. That was the big conversation with Bray, with Alexa, both in the Funhouse. We got the thing with Retribution that happened at the beginning. So let's get into what we are going to see tonight. Now, I don't know if Randy has a match. I haven't seen that yet. So if Randy Orton does indeed have a match tonight, I would imagine we can get a Fiend attack as soon as this evening for that. So let's wait and see if Randy has indeed got a match. Now, Drew McIntyre is scheduled to start off tonight, so I imagine he will come out and do something now. Whether there really aren't rematches much going on anymore, or a guaranteed rematch. So they kind of negate that. But we know Jodie's excited, man. Jeff, what did you think when you heard the breaking news?
Man, the first thing I thought was already. But hey, I think a lot of us were looking for Bray to make an appearance last night in some way, shape, or form. Whether it was just showing up on screen or we go do a throwback and just see the lantern showing up somewhere, or a puppet. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that it's happening because I think everyone is pumped up about it and wants it to happen. So, let's see what happens. Let's see if we get an appearance from him tonight. I would not be surprised that even if Randy does not have a match, I still think he could very well be taking part in Randy Orton's very near future.
Yeah, and let's keep in mind that they like to do this as a slow burn kind of storyline lately too. They've been doing a lot of this stuff, very slowly. So just because something may happen this evening doesn't mean it necessarily goes right to Survivor Series. They've been, they've been kind of teasing things a little bit along the line, and you could have something happen here tonight where Alexa may just at the very end of this conversation snap back into her Fiend persona and just kind of say, let him in to Randy, something along those lines. That could be a little bit of a clue. Remember, we got the to be continued thing with Wobbly Walrus in the Funhouse before. So that that may end up going somewhere down the road. The same thing with this, especially if they have plans for Survivor Series already with Bray, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Is this going to be it? Now, you kind of have to, I kind of always look at it from a realistic picture as well. Do they want that match for a Survivor Series?
No.
Yeah, that's what I said. I don't think so. I don't think it's that big. I don't think Survivor Series is big enough for it, especially this year, because it's going to be dedicated to the Undertaker. The whole show is going to be dedicated to Undertaker. So I don't think so. I don't think that would make a whole lot of sense.
It's gotta be Mania. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, that's the way I would be leaning. But again, if they're going to do that, then tonight would be a teaser. So they can't, it's not going to be something that's going to be, that's going to go right into this. So it could be a slow burn. So let's kind of, take it back a little tiny bit because it may not happen right away. In fact, at least from our opinion, that it seems like it may not happen at all right away. So, so let's see. Everybody's excited. Moda's in the chat. Hello to Moda. Who else? Jay McCabe. Hey guys, longtime listener, first time tuning in live as I'm never at work. Love what you guys do and look forward to all your shows from Brisbane, Australia.
Woo-hoo!
Wow, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome, man. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate that, buddy. How is it out in Australia? How are things out there? How's the weather there? And I would love to go to Australia someday. That's awesome. And there is the picture from WWE. That is Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss. And if you just came into the chat, that was Jodie's breaking news at the top of the show that Alexa Bliss will have Randy Orton in her Moment of Bliss show on Raw tonight. So amazing. Absolutely amazing. Dave Meltzer saying it would be Edge versus Orton for the title. A lot of people are assuming that, Dave's fan, at WrestleMania maybe, that it could be Edge versus Orton. But now if you're saying
Dave Meltzer that said it.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that here's the thing. So if he's saying that it could be for Survivor Series, that I can maybe see as long as Edge is ready to go. If he is, he's ahead of schedule because everybody's kind of thinking that he wouldn't be back until maybe January, February-ish. So if he's saying that it's for Survivor Series, then as long as he's ahead of schedule, maybe. I could see that maybe. And if that's the case, then that'll take us through the end of the year. So there is that. Now, Bray may not be able to just come down and say he wants a shot. So what would that mean is that might mean that Mr. Wyatt may take part in the Royal Rumble and may win the Royal Rumble to be able to demand a shot at Randy Orton's title. At WrestleMania of next year. So that would be cool as well. We haven't seen that. Have not seen the Fiend involved in a Royal Rumble, so it'll be completely something different. Jason Peace mentioned it earlier. Yes. So that could be something that Eric mentioned it as well. That could be something else that we could see happen also. So C says, what if Fiend goes to attack Randy? Retribution gets involved and stop him from doing it, planting the seeds for Fiend versus Randy, but setting up. Yeah, that could happen. Yeah, that could happen. They do have a beef now with Bray, so that could very well happen. Yep, could happen. Well, Jodie, so what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think this is a kind of a slow burn as we talked about? Do you think this is just a start, just a little tease? And do you think they kind of really drag this out now for the future?
Oh, I think they're really going to do a slow burn on this. If you remember how extensive their history was, a few years ago, it went on for months. So I could definitely see this being a slow burn. I don't necessarily think that the Fiend's going to attack him tonight, but I think it's starting. I think we may get something, Alexa teasing that he's watching and that he's always listening or something like that. It may not necessarily be a Fiend attack. I think this is definitely going to be a slow burn. Because I heard the rumor too that it was going to be Randy versus Roman at Survivor Series, champion versus champion. So I definitely don't see the actual match happening anytime soon. But I think this is going to go in phases. So since Randy has such a big history with cult leader Bray, Eater of Worlds Bray, I think we're going to see something similar, that what we saw with John Cena and with Braun, that we're going to see lots of faces of Bray before we actually get the Fiend versus Randy match. So I think this is going to be months and months of Bray playing with Randy's mind. If it's Randy versus Roman at Survivor Series, maybe cult leader Bray gets involved and distracts him, and Roman wins or something, crazy like that. I also think that Bray does have a demand for the title, because all he has to say, Randy took it from me. I'm simply returning the favor. And I think that does give him a shot to the title without winning the Rumble. I don't know if they would do it that way. I'd love to see the Fiend win the Rumble, but I definitely think this is going to be a slow burn. My mind is racing right now. I'm excited. I didn't think that we were gonna get even a tease of this feud this soon, but I'm excited. And the only way to do this justice is to have it culminate at WrestleMania and have the Fiend take that title at WrestleMania, because then it's full circle. And Bray loves circles, so having it happen that way would be full circle. And there's little things he can do in between, because it's going to be a slow burn. I definitely see something happening at Survivor Series with Undertaker and Bray. So there's little things they can do in between while keeping this momentum going with that feud, because everybody wants it. And I'm really glad that I made that video now. I'm also really glad that we're not live streaming Raw tonight, so that they don't have to hear me screaming at the top of my lungs.
Yeah, that it's look, I mean, it's, again, like I said, it's a big moment. It's a moment that everybody has been waiting for. We know that this feud is the pinnacle of what the Fiend has come back to do. So yes, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes and how quickly it goes. Big Dan says, keep in mind he attacked Braun Strowman last fall. They didn't dance until this spring. Also, I could see the Fiend possibly incapacitate Randy and allowing the Miz to cash in on him. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. The Miz has the title, or the briefcase, the Money in the Bank briefcase. Yeah, I did hear that happened, that they turned Tucker on Otis. So we know that where that's going. Poor Otis is going to fight with Tucker, I'm assuming. But Moda says the Fiend does what he wants when he wants. It does not need to win the Rumble for a title shot. Well, I mean, we'll see, because ultimately he has to answer to Vince. And it's all up to what Vince wants him to do. I'm getting Yokozuna versus Undertaker vibes in this Fiend versus Retribution feud. Remember when 4 or 5 guys keep on attacking him until he can't get up anymore? I mean, that's what is gonna. I mean, that's what's gonna have to happen, I guess. I don't know. I was talking about this a little bit earlier to some people, and I don't necessarily know that I want to see. Oh my goodness, Mr. McCabe, you did not have to do that, dude.
Thank you.
Wow. Yes. Thank you for that very kind donation. Love what you guys do. Can't always be live, but always listening. Keep up the unreal work. Looking forward to watching Bray chasing the WWE title. And like I said, you didn't have to do that, but thank you so much for that kind donation. Really, really, really appreciate that. And we're glad you enjoy the show, dude. And it's really cool to see that we're getting out to Australia. That's amazing.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah. So it's what are we gonna see? I mean, Jodie touched on Survivor Series, so let's get into Survivor Series, shall we? Because this is what I was thinking with the whole Retribution thing. I think it's kind of filler. I don't think it's going to last very long. Are they going to gang up on him? I had discussed this with Jeff earlier too, and I don't want to see, and I don't think anybody fan of the Fiend does. I don't think they want to see him getting, like quadruple teamed by 5 or 6 guys, because now if he comes out of it and he kind of beats up everybody and things like that, like we saw before, then okay, it makes the whole thing look cool. But if all 5 of them or whatever are going to keep attacking him and stuff like that, that can get a little bit old. But either way, I don't think that's going to last very long, because I think the way that they made it look last night anyway on the pay-per-view, that Hurt Business and Retribution is still very involved. So I think the 2 of them are just going to kind of go off and in that direction that they were going before, and I don't think we're really going to see too much more involvement with Bray and Retribution. We'll see. I may be wrong. We will see. Anything can happen. It is wrestling after all. Dave says Roman versus Randy versus Finn all had feuds with Bray. They did. Yes, they did. Sonny's making pork chops. The Fiend having Alexa by his side means anything can happen. Will Alexa go for Asuka and her title? That's a very good possibility. Very, very good possibility. Other Mother says hello to you. Welcome. So let's talk about Survivor Series. Now, we got the news, and you can see the graphic. We all kind of knew this was coming. This is the 30th anniversary of The Undertaker. People, our good buddy, oh my goodness, my head is shot. Our good friend of the channel, Jodie, oh my God.
What?
Kyle, yes, Kyle, good Lord. Kyle was asked to do a painting of The Undertaker, which is amazing. He put that. I saw the post a little bit earlier. That's awesome for him, and that is in the WWE shop. So go and check that out if you're a fan of his work. But this whole show is dedicated to The Undertaker's career. And so now the question is, because, and again, it's kind of funny, isn't it? How we talked about this stuff months and months ago, and with Randy and everything like that. And, and we were talking about this months and months and months ago as well. Could Bray attack The Undertaker at this show? Now, they had said he's going to be there. So that is not in question. Whether or not they said he is not going to wrestle. So that is not in question. If he comes out and does his entrance, which he will, he's going to be, he's not going to come out as Mark Calloway and walk down the aisle. He's going to come out in the Undertaker garb. This is a celebration of the Undertaker. He's going to have his big entrance. He's going to have the fog. Maybe, we haven't seen the acolytes. We haven't seen any of those, but, he's going to have the big entrance. So if he comes down to the ring, he gets in the ring, comes in to just kind of, say goodbye maybe to everybody. This is the big way to say goodbye. Come down to the ring, do the big entrance, and just stand in the ring, talk a little bit, and his big goodbye, and then boom, the lights go out, and it gets interrupted by the Fiend. And the Fiend takes the Undertaker out in the middle of his big 30th anniversary celebration. Mind blown. And then where do you go with that? See, that's what I'm saying. Like, tonight could just be a simple teaser for what's to come. But then if they decide to go in and do something with Bray and The Undertaker, because maybe they already have plans. Like some of you guys have said, maybe Randy Orton and Edge happens at the Rumble. Maybe Randy Orton and Edge, maybe Edge comes back. It's about the time when he was saying he was going to come back. It'll be the end of January. Maybe he comes back ready to go, and Randy and Edge happens at the Royal Rumble. Maybe that's when that takes place. And then maybe, like I was saying, maybe then Bray and Undertaker happens at the Rumble, if they don't want to include him in the actual Rumble match. So maybe that happens there, and then maybe the two of them go on a collision course for WrestleMania. We don't know, but this is really, really, really cool. So Jeff, I know we got the news about Undertaker with Survivor Series. So do you see something happening at Survivor Series with the Fiend and with the Undertaker when he comes down to that ring?
I think we do. I think it's appropriate to happen that way. I think, several months ago when we got the last ride, I kind of saw the writing on the wall early and mentioned that. But now the closer we get to this and the bigger deal we make of this, I can definitely see them doing something at Survivor Series to set up a cinematic match at Mania between. Well, maybe it's not Mania, maybe it's something different, but I do think we get a little more between the Fiend and the Undertaker. And I think I said this last week, but kind of the way that the Fiend broke down John Cena, I think we could see the same thing to see the Undertaker ride off into the sunset, and he brings them all the way back to being Mark Calloway and to the old days of Mean Mark, where he's just himself, and now he's got the mantle as the supernatural guy in WWE at this point.
Yeah, that's a great shout. I can totally see that happening. And who knows, guys, maybe now we look at that Funhouse match that Bray came up with against John Cena as a way for him to almost kind of like retire people. We were thinking at that time that he's done this to John to kind of turn John, but maybe that's not what it is. Maybe that's not what it is. Maybe this is the way. Maybe Cena kind of figured, you know what? I'm probably not going to be doing this much longer, if at all. So why don't we do this? This will be kind of a retrospective look at my career through the eyes of through the eyes of Bray and the Funhouse and stuff. And then maybe kind of go, it's almost like a This Is Your Life kind of a thing. And if he would go back and do that again in a Funhouse match with Undertaker, look, John Cena didn't have to wrestle. There was no wrestling involved. He had to lay down on the match. So, so that would get Undertaker out of having to do anything physical. And like Jeff said, then the gauntlet has been given to the torch has been passed to the next person in line for the person who is going to be the master of fear in WWE. That would be amazing. That would absolutely be amazing. And the timing is really all we have to figure out. And who cares? If that happens and then the Randy thing happens, who the heck cares when it happens? Just that it does. Jesse Callan has joined us. Hello, Jesse. If anyone else has joined us since, hello to you. Joey's Adventures says, sorry to go off topic, but did you notice Drew slammed the cell door like Undertaker used to? I think Taker will do something with Drew at Survivor Series. That could be. Like I said, I mean, wrestling could go any direction. I think you guys are all mentioning The Miz. I think The Miz is going to go right after Drew. That's what I think. It just seems like it's kind of tailor-made. I mean, he could kind of stay in the background with that Money in the Bank, but I think he just comes in. I think even tonight, him and Morrison may come down to the ring and interrupt Drew. That's kind of how I think that they kind of get that going. The Money in the Bank, as much as I like Otis, I love the character, there was nowhere for him to go. And as much as I like him, Miz could kind of use a little bit of a shot in the arm. And the Money in the Bank briefcase certainly gives him that. I don't think he's going to challenge Randy Orton. It doesn't make sense to have two heels kind of clashing. So I don't think he's going to go after Randy Orton. I think he would go after McIntyre before, anything like that happened. So, McIntyre doesn't have the title anymore, does he? Duh. See, that's what happens when I don't watch a pay-per-view. But I think he may be the one to come out and go after Drew and kind of have a little bit of a feud there. And then we'll see down the road, who the titles belong to and, who Miz would want to go after. It doesn't make sense for him to want to go after Roman at all. And I don't think that that'll happen either. So we'll see. We shall see. Well, you know what? If Bray wins the belt, Miz might owe him a little something, something.
Mhm.
Just saying. That was built up before too. So Miz may owe him a little something as well. So, all right, Jodie, what do you think of Survivor Series? And do you agree with Jeff and myself? Because I really think that this is what's going to happen. I'll be honest. I'll be a little disappointed at this point if it doesn't. But do you think that Undertaker comes out at Survivor Series and gets attacked by Bray?
Yes and no. I don't think that this is going to build to a match. I think, honestly, this is going to be a one-off thing. I really don't think that Undertaker's going to wrestle again, especially after what he said about the Boneyard match and how much he enjoyed that. I don't think he's going to do it again. I think that's going to be his last match. Just a gut feeling. I could be totally wrong, and if I'm wrong, that's fine. I would really love to see, and this is complete fantasy booking, I would really love to see, instead of an attack, a moment of passing the torch. And I would really like to see, Undertaker's in the middle of the ring, the lights go out, they come up, the Fiend's standing there, and they just kind of have this face-off like Cena and the Fiend did right before WrestleMania, where you could just feel the tension, and you're like, what is going to happen? And I would love to see just Taker tip his hat, disappear, and you get the urn in the middle of the ring. The Fiend looks at it, he takes it. The next week we see it in the Funhouse as a trophy.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I mean, that would get it over the. I mean, Sean said too, and this is a good point. I love the idea. I wish it would happen, but I think Taker is a little too protective of his character and legacy to take a serious look at it like in a Funhouse match. That's very true. Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Creed says hello. Hello to you. So yeah, good point, Sean. Yeah, that's another way to look at it. Absolutely. Sonny says, I still think Taker versus Fiend at Survivor Series. Taker comes before Survivor Series on Raw and Fiend attacks him. Possible. Certainly possible. James Chadwick is talking about Taker Sting. I would love that too, dude. I would have no complaints about that whatsoever. In the ring at Survivor Series, then a crow appears and Sting comes out, dude. That would be amazing too. I have no problems with that at all. The only thing with that I have is that I think Sting's just a little bit too old now. I mean, he's well into his 60s. I'm sure he still keeps in good shape and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, they would have to do a cinematic match with them, obviously. And even those, like Taker had mentioned, can be a little grueling because it's like you're filming a movie. So you're on, you're in the outfits all the time. You're standing for hours on end. If they do a 10-hour shoot, you're standing for most of the time, and that can be tough on these guys that have bad knees, bad legs, etc. So, but yeah, who knows, dude? I'm all in, man. I would love to see that match. And Undertaker mentioned it recently himself. He said people still, were hoping that they would see myself and Sting. He said it was a dream match, of course, from the WCW days. But he said, I think we're a little bit both kind of past it right now, but who knows? Maybe it was a teaser. Jesse says, Randy on a moment of bliss tonight. Yes, Jesse, and thank you for the donation.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yeah, that was breaking news. We started the show with that, and that is super, super exciting. Absolutely. We started the show with it. We were talking about it since, which was good because it's really the first time we've had any kind of breaking news on the show. So the positioning of the show lent a hand to that tonight. So good thing we did leave it where it was, because other than that, we wouldn't be on right now. So there you go. That lent itself to being a good thing. Let's see what else people are saying. Miz cashed in November 22nd, 2010 and won Survivor Series 2020, November 22nd. Oh, okay. That's cool, dude. There's some date stuff going on there. Fiend and Miz and Morrison have recent history. During the feud with Braun, he called the Puppets Bray's loser friends. They did. Yeah, they did. So they absolutely could have something. And he has history with the Miz, of course. I asked Jodie to do this as Drift Lewis. Do you think the only way to turn back is for the Fiend to touch you after he changes you?
I have a theory.
what better way than now then to go?
All right. So I know me and Jeff, we talked about it a little bit. I know me and C Wrestling have talked about it. So if you think about Bray's signature move, not Sister Abigail, we're talking about the mandible claw, so the Fiend's signature move, he always goes for the mandible claw with the hurt glove. And that's what changes people. Once you've gotten a mandible claw from the Fiend, you change. So and we've talked a lot about this too, what does the heel glove actually do? We've seen him use it once, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Somebody said twice, but I don't remember the other time. So we have seen him use it once to bring back Ramblin' Rabbit from the dead. And so my theory is, what does the heel glove actually do? Obviously, it brings people back. So what if the heel glove, getting a mandible claw from the Fiend, using the heel glove, brings them back?
Interesting. Yeah. Makes some sense. That would make some sense for sure. Well, there you go. Drift Lewis, you got a theory as your answer. So how cool is that? There you go. There you go. Let's see here. Mike Lister. Hello, Mike, by the way. I would love Sting and Taker to finally face off Survivor Series, and the lights go out and the Fiend ends up face to face with both and gives Sting the mandible claw and leaves Taker. Well, I mean, Bray mentioned that he would love to wrestle Sting as well. So geez, you're talking a huge mark out moment there, aren't you? Yeah, that would be awesome. Moda, I know, man, I feel your pain. I know Moda has told us through the year too that he was supposed to go to the Survivor Series. It was supposed to be in Texas. And unfortunately, of course, with everything going on, he cannot be there. And yeah, I know, dude, that sucks. He says, I got a hot opinion. Miz will drop Morrison and use Tucker as his bodyguard or backup. Then Morrison will turn face. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Mr. Morrison needs a change of scenery too, so that wouldn't be a bad thing. I don't think it's unrealistic to hope for an interaction, but a match isn't happening, says Sean. Yeah, are you talking? If you're talking about Sting, I agree. I agree. I just don't think that that's in the cards for Sting. I just think he's a little bit too old now at this point. Are you guys aware that Randy Orton is going to? Yep, we are, Matt. We mentioned that right off the bat. It was our breaking news story right when we started the show, but thank you for letting us know. Yes, very, very cool. And I'm sure all Bray fans are going to be watching tonight on Raw with bated breath to find out exactly what is going to happen there, because we know that Miss Bliss is part of the Funhouse, and she can, this is cool to me. This is really cool to me, and I'll tell you why. Because now Bray almost has I'm not going to say Alexa's a Paul Heyman, because she's way better than that. Alexa's a wrestler, so Alexa can get physical, whereas, of course, Paul does not. But now that you've got this whole situation, right? Alexa can come out and interview Randy almost, like there's no different. Come out to her old entrance, come out with the Moment of Bliss thing, and sit in the chair like there's nothing new going on, kind of putting the wrestlers at ease a little bit, because they're not now. Granted, I mean, if they're going to play along, Randy's gonna know that she's got something, with Bray. But he comes out, and it's cool though, because you just don't know. Like, they can have these guys interact, and then the thing is, is Randy gonna attack a female wrestler? Now, he's done so. He's done it with Nia Jax, so it's not you don't put it past him. But that's I think the dynamic here is pretty cool, and I think that's what brings this brings this all to a head, is that you've got all these different interactions that could happen with the two of them, and that Bray doesn't even have to be on the show, and maybe he's not. Maybe Bray is not on the show tonight. It's very possible that he might not be, and if that's the case, he may not come out at all. That's what the cool thing is with having Alexa there. Moda, you didn't have to do that, buddy, but thank you so much for the donation. Really, really, really appreciate that. Moda says, Jodie, Taker, and Fiend face off. Fiend gets on his knees in front of Taker with outstretched arms, sort of like Taker used to do for Legends. We get a Taker hat up, lights go out, urn is left. The Fiend uses it as a prop in the Firefly Funhouse. Well, that's interesting. You wouldn't have to have him do it. Go ahead, Jody.
I love it.
Wouldn't have to have him do anything. Wouldn't have to have Taker do anything, would you? And talk about a passing of the torch. Wow. Wow. That would be awesome, dude. That would be awesome. Oh, man. Yeah, that would be amazing. That would be really cool. Dave wants to know if Lon is going through a table. More than likely. The chances of that are probably pretty high. What is it, 7 in a row or something like that now on Raw tonight? If that guy paid $20 to go to a wrestling academy, they'd have to give him the $20 back to leave after that. I have no idea who you're talking about, dude. The verbal exchange between Bliss and Orton, can you imagine, says Butterspark. Oh, dude, I know. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing, like, you can kind of have that where you're not going to have that with Bray. If Funhouse Bray came down the ring and interviewed Orton, Orton would beat the crap out of him. I mean, it would be that simple. But you're not going to have him do that with Alexa. He's not going to go and beat up Alexa and stuff like that. So that's why I said the dynamic is cool here. It's almost like Alexa's his messenger and can kind of just go down there and I mean, she's a lot more than that because she's an actual wrestler, like I said. But it's almost like she's kind of the one that comes out and delivers the message. And this is where the Harley Quinn stuff kind of comes in too, because this is a lot what the Joker would do. The Joker would send Harley Quinn out to kind of, put the feelers out there and kind of, get in people's heads and things like that a little bit before any of it even started and he ever made an appearance. So this is where that whole thing comes into play as well. Matt says, why would a character like the Fiend kneel before someone? Well, I mean, look, we're talking about all fantasy booking and acting and stuff like that. So, listen, I mean, anything like that could happen. And, it would just be a very cool scene of respect, I guess, and things like that. Yeah, it's not something you would maybe see him do, but look, he is kind of changing a little bit, Matt. We've seen that in the last 2 weeks. He's going after heels. So he's attacking Retribution. He's attacking, he's going after heel characters. So they are kind of saying that there's still a possibility out there that he changes to a face. I read it a few times over the course of last week. So that could still be in the cards. We heard that a while back and it hasn't happened yet. So a lot of times that's what, it's funny when we talk about dirt sheet stuff comes out, when it comes out. But a lot of times it's almost like they get a preview into what's going to happen somewhere way down the road, or the wrestling companies react to the dirt sheets and they're like, yeah, we're not doing this now because they ruined it. So we're going to wait, we're going to put it off, and we're going to do it way down the road, and then people won't remember. That could be something similar to that. But I think he may be going that direction. He may be going like a face. So Kevin Owens isn't a heel currently, but because he's fighting against Aleister Black, who they made a heel. So, all right. I get Fiend is meant to be scary, but I would love it if he destroys everyone but respects Taker. Yeah, good point. Good point. And again, it's different because Undertaker retired, and obviously Undertaker really can't do anything physical. So they're not going to be. I don't think he's going to be giving him a Sister Abigail with the bad knees and the bad hip. So I mean, can he do the claw? Yeah. I mean, he's done that to Mankind, to Mick Foley when he came to the ring. He's done that to Jerry the King Lawler. So that's kind of another story that you can do that where you're not going to really do anything physical to him in that respect. Mike says, with Alexa now part of the Funhouse, could there be future episodes where Alexa hosts it instead of Bray? I would. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Why not? Yeah. Steve Jericho says, hey guys, it's the birthday boy in the house. Steve is
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, dude. Hope you're having a great day. And I hope you got cake and ice cream and whatever else it is that you enjoy on your birthday. I hope you got lots of gifts, dude. Yeah, happy birthday, man. Thanks for being a part of it.
I hope you weren't fasting on your birthday.
Ah, yes. I hope you get a cool Raw tonight to end off your birthday, and of course we know what we're getting with Bray. So yeah, happy birthday, man. Thanks for spending some of your birthday with us. That's awesome. Other Mother says coffee or gin. That's a combination. Coffee or gin. He says cake coming soon. No fasting. So there you go. No fasting on your birthday. You can't do that on your birthday. Jason P says, hey, I have an idea. Do you remember the pictures of the barn with the Fiend? Do you think that they will go back to them? The picture with Randy, the Randy thing. Are you talking about the cabin? Certainly could. I mean, Kyle has told us, a lot of times in the 2 times we've had him on, that a lot of what Bray does is foreshadowing. So they certainly could.
I just had a thought.
Okay, what is the thought?
What if those cabin pictures were an Easter egg for them going back to the compound where he burned Abby?
Certainly could. Yeah, certainly could. If they're going to do a cinematic match, if they're going to do a cinematic match, yeah, I have no doubt. I have no
back to the Wyatt compound. Yeah.
Yep. I have no doubt. The thing is with that match too, with Randy, is listen, it doesn't have to be. Bray doesn't even have to go after the title. I mean, I would be okay with it if he just destroyed Randy and didn't even pin him. I'm perfectly fine with that because he doesn't need his belt. All he's going after is for what he wronged him. He doesn't need to, to get that belt from Randy. So there's a way where you don't have to be disappointed or upset if he doesn't win the belt. He's just going to go and just demolish Randy Orton, whatever he's going to do. And that's perfectly fine with me. Let's see. I dropped my phone for the 78th time, Sonny says. Daniel Price, what's going on with that? Okay. Well, yeah, we won't do that. Jason Peace says, yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. I would look, it's going to be awesome. Whatever they decide to do is going to be really, really awesome. I'd be fine with Orton being eaten by a tiger, says Daniel Price. Okay, not a Randy Orton fan, I take it. Not a Randy Orton fan. Wow. Okay. Matt Hendricks. Orton took the title from Bray in 2017. It makes sense for Bray to want to take away from Randy what Randy took from Bray. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. It would come full circle.
Absolutely, it does. Mike Lister says, where is Wobbly Walrus? Yeah, well, that's to be continued. We saw the to be continued at the end of that, and that could be anywhere down the line.
By Mercy the Buzzard.
Yeah, Mercy ate the walrus.
Mercy ate the walrus.
Buzzards do eat carcasses, so if the carcass was there, who knows, right? Who knows?
He went after the fish in his pocket first.
Yeah. Jesse says maybe, but I swear I remember Kyle saying that he just shared those with Bray for fun because he saw them all trapped. Yeah, no, he did. He did say that.
Yeah, he did.
Yep, he did say that. And they didn't really have meaning. He did say that. So yeah, I mean, it was just a picture of, but then what he did was, that was the actual cabin that he took pictures of. But then he took it and turned it into art where he took the pictures of the actual cabin and he put all the Fiend stuff all over it, which we saw before Wrestlemania last year. So James Chadwick says, I'm still waiting for a Fiend murder spree. Well, that if he's still going up against Retribution, that could certainly happen. Let's see here. Alexa versus Asuka. Thoughts on that match happening in the future, says Dave. Yeah, I mean, look, they're not going to certainly make Alexa Bliss just be a sideshow. She's on Raw now for a reason. So yeah, I mean, Asuka doesn't really currently have much going on unless they're going to have her go up against Shayna Baszler or Nia Jax. Not really all that much happening with Asuka now. So yeah, you certainly could have Alexa going. I mean, like I said, she's not just going to be there, as a mouthpiece in the Funhouse. So she's there to wrestle, and it certainly would, it would make sense to have her go up against Asuka. Absolutely. What did you guys think of Alexa's full Fiend attack on Lacey Evans? I never got to hear your guys' thoughts on it, says Matt Hendricks. Oh yeah, well that was awesome. What she got her twice. She got the Sister Abigail on her outside the ring the one week when she came over and said something. What should she say? The Fiend. What are you gonna do? Get the Fiend? That was stupid. And of course she got her again. So yeah, Lacey's been attacked twice already, and now she's on Raw. So there's always a possibility that she could get that again too. C says, out there theory, what if Wobbly Walrus is an indication Bray is a Paul Heyman guy? And when Bray and Roman feud, Heyman turns on Roman and that is out there.
That is definitely out there.
That is out there. Yes, that is out there. But like I said, it's wrestling. It's wrestling. I mean, you never know. You never, ever know. What if the fire painting resolves itself? The painting you're talking about in the Funhouse?
Once he beats, I don't think it, So once he beats Randy, if it goes back to the cinematic match where they're inside that same barn that Randy burned down, I could definitely see the fire disappearing from the picture. But it'll be subtle and most people won't notice it. But hardcore Bray fans like we are will notice it.
That would be cool. I mean, you'll see, like, again, that's just the little Easter eggs and stuff like that they do. So certainly that certainly could happen. Matt then says if Alexa wins the title, it's going to be on the same night that Bray wins the WWE title. That would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be really cool. Moda says, I honestly don't think we will see Wobbly Walrus again until the Fiend goes back to SmackDown or Heyman comes to Raw. That memory or the rest of that story to be continued. That whole thing with Roman has got a long way to go. That's got a long way to go. Jey Uso saved his brother, I heard. I've yet to see that match, but I heard all about
good.
Yeah, I heard Roman was really emotional, and I saw pictures of that and things like that. So, so I think that whole storyline's got a long way to go. The Fiend isn't going to get involved with Roman anytime soon. That's going on for a long time. Fiend versus Brock at WrestleMania. Well, of course, Dave's fan would say that. Watch and see. Randy is wrestling Edge and Taker. Might not do one more match, and there is only Brock to have him face the Fiend. Yeah, well, I'd be okay with Brock and the Fiend. We talked about that match before too. I'd be okay with that. Wasn't Brock on Raw? Couldn't he and Bray face each other at some point, says Mike Lister? Could. Yeah, absolutely could. I thought of this last night, says Big Dan, but Roman did take the mandible claw at Payback. And if you notice, the following week, his character became more vicious and psychotic. Oh, yes. Yeah, good call, dude. Good call.
He's getting a little darker.
Good call. Let's see. Matt says Roman versus Jay should have main evented. Yeah, I was a little surprised that they had that match first. I agree. I was a little surprised that match went on as early as it did. Was absolutely surprised by that booking. I thought it would be a little bit later. Halloween is lit is in the chat. Randy Orton is going to be on a Moment of Bliss. Yes. Yep. We've been talking about that all night long. But thank you for bringing it to our attention. Yes, it definitely is going to be on Raw tonight. It's going to be awesome. And we cannot wait. We cannot wait to see what is going to happen on Raw. All right. So we got a little bit of time left. Let's go to the merch corner, shall we? Is there any new merch we need to talk about? I know last week it was loaded. We got all the Christmas ornaments and stuff like that. If you want to see a video on the Christmas ornaments, I think C Wrestling did one. So if you want to see all that stuff, you can go over to his channel, check out that video on the ornaments and stuff. He goes over them all, shows everybody some, said they're actually made pretty well and everything. So that's cool. And then, yes, the Fiend on the scene that is on our screen. On the scene that is on our screen. Oh,
that's amazing.
Oh, how about that one? There you go. Is there anything new? I haven't checked in a little bit, so I don't know if they put anything new other than what we got. I know that blanket and the pillow were in there too, but I don't know if they put anything in new this week.
Oh, thank you, C Wrestling. So Alexa Bliss just tweeted. She said, from what I can tell, this will be an excellent interview with Randy Orton, no doubt.
Uh-oh. Oh, yes. Look at that. From what I can tell, this will be an excellent interview with Randy Orton. No doubt. Moment of bliss. Yes. So there you go. Alexa has tweeted out, "We've got some more breaking news." Yes, look at that. Breaking news to start the show and breaking news to end the show. So there you go, guys. Always cool to do that. I mean, like I said, we don't get that very often on the show. So cool to see that happen. But yeah, tonight's going to be cool, guys. So, I mean, Raw's been great. I've loved it the last few weeks. Raw has been the lesser of the two shows for a long, long time. And now that, Bray is on there, of course, we all have interest in that. But, just the other things that are going on Raw, to me, I think Raw is pretty good now. Raw is pretty good show. So cannot wait to see that. We'll see when the Alexa moment happens. If it happens mid-show, then you can always have a possible Bray sighting later in the show. And I want to find out whether or not Randy's going to wrestle this evening as well, because that could maybe give something away also. So the last couple of weeks, we've seen not just one time that they have been out on the show. We've seen Bray out with Retribution. In that whole segment, then Bray kind of went away. Then the Funhouse came back, and then we saw both of them. So they've been on the show multiple times, and if that happens again, All right, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight, as always, on Abby's Window. Really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all those who gave the kind donations. That is awesome of you guys. Again, you don't have to do that, but we really, really appreciate that. And our schedule for the rest of the week, of course, tomorrow night we have another Halloween thing. Man, this is a Halloween themed week. Tomorrow night we have Impact, and Impact is going to be the follow-up to the big Bound for Glory pay-per-view, which we just watched on Saturday, which was absolutely amazing. Halloween stuff all over the place. We are going to have a demon wedding with Rosemary and Johnny Bravo. And then we're going to have, thank you, Jeff. Yes. And then we're going to have Sue Young as the champion. Sue Young is the champion. If you didn't see Impact, go back and watch our stream and watch the show because it was amazing. Sue Young won the title. And you want to talk about a Halloween character. There's another good one. And then we go on to Wednesday. Wednesday night, we are doing, for the very first time, NXT, because it is Halloween Havoc. We will stream Halloween Havoc this week, and we will have that for you as well. So who knows what we'll get on there. We might get some Halloween surprises on there. AEW has Abaddon this week on there too, so I'm going to be trying to keep an eye on a little bit of both. Because I want to see when Abaddon wrestles, because that's going to interest me too. Love Abaddon, and I want to see, and they may do some stuff on AEW for Halloween as well. We'll see. So I'm going to see if I can kind of keep my eyes on. I mean, I do have two eyes, so I can look at one and look at the other. So we'll see. Maybe trying to keep a little bit on both as the thing is going on NXT. And then Thursday we should be returning back to the hot tag. Is there more breaking news?
WWE on Fox just tweeted the Orton burning the compound.
Oh,
man.
Well, like the old Billy Joel song says, we didn't start the fire. Randy started the fire. So, there you go, guys. It looks as if tonight is the night that it's going to start. So it looks as if Days Fan says it's happening. Looks as if it's going to start tonight. Looks as if we're going to start this whole thing up. Whether or not it starts in full or goes on and on and on, we don't know. But it looks like it's starting tonight. So go ahead, guys. Enjoy it. Have an awesome rest of your night. And we will talk to you guys all soon. Hope to see you all tomorrow night for Impact. And then also throughout the rest of the week. Oh, I almost forgot our podcast. We're doing the NXT thing on Wednesday, and then pretty much right after that, we will have our podcast as well with some new things for you, some new graphics from Jeff that he's been working on. So, yes, make sure you join us the rest of the week, guys. Have a great rest of your night. Get excited. You only got an hour to go until Raw starts. So, have a great rest of your night. Stay safe and have a great night. We'll talk to you all soon. Take care, everybody.